Yo, what is up? Welcome to another digital lesson. We're going to continue getting closer to the end of chapter 12. This time we're going to talk about how to solve what are called two-step equations. Two-step equations. Two-step equations are equations that, you guessed it, require two steps to solve. Alright, so sometimes more than one operation is needed to solve an equation. This occurs when an equation contains multiple operations. So here's an example. Maybe before we might have had an equation that looked like this. X plus 1 equals 5. How would I solve that? Well, I would just subtract 1 from both sides, and that would give me my answer. But if I change this and make this 2x plus 1 equals 5, now this is going to require two steps to solve. We have our variable x. Let's go ahead and circle this. But the question is, which buddy do I get rid of? X has two buddies, 2 and plus 1. So which one do I get rid of first? Now the truth is, mathematically, it does not matter which one you get rid of first, but there is an order and a way that we can do this to make our lives easier. So here are the steps for how to solve a two-step equation. First, we are going to try to undo, or we're going to try to get rid of any addition or subtraction by using inverse operations. Addition or subtraction, and we're going to go ahead and use inverse operations. All right. Then, after we have that done, we're going to try to get rid of any multiplication or division by using inverse operations. All right. Now, if you think about this, one way that I kind of think about this, if you think of your order of operations, I usually write it like this. When we are trying to solve a two-step equation, we are actually going to go backwards. We are going to try to undo any of these things in the opposite direction. And this does make our life a lot easier. It simplifies it, and I guess what I'm trying to say is if you did get rid of multiplication or division first, you could solve it, but you'd end up with fractions, and you'd have to add fractions, and that's a messy way to do things. So we're going to look for any addition or subtraction first, and then any multiplication or division. So let's look at skill check number 1. How would you solve the following? They're not asking us to solve in this case. On your homework, you're going to be solving a lot of problems. But for this one, they're not asking us how to solve. They're asking what steps would I take? So the first thing I always do is I circle my variable. And then I figure out how many buddies on the same side of the equation do I have to get rid of. In this case, I have to get rid of plus 5. So what's the opposite of adding 5? This one, you are going to subtract 5. Now this is a one-step equation because he only has one buddy. Looking at example 2, I can circle my variable, and he has two buddies, the 4 and the negative 6. So which one do I get rid of first? Well, we want to get rid of any subtraction first. So I want to get rid of this guy first. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add 6. Why am I adding 6? Because the opposite of subtracting is adding. And then I'm going to multiply by 4. Now, why would I multiply? Because this is p divided by 4. And the opposite of division is multiplication. So we're just using inverse operation. We're going to start by circling our variable, and then we're going to go ahead and figure out what would I do next. So my variable is this guy. And he has two buddies, 7 and 2. Now 7 is being multiplied, and 2 is being added. So remember, we're going to try to get rid of any addition or subtraction first, and then we're going to get rid of any multiplication or division. So the opposite of adding 2 means I'm going to subtract 2. And then from both sides, and then I'm going to get rid of the 7. This is times, so I'm going to go ahead and divide. divide by 7. This one, we can do the same thing. Now notice this one has two different operations. It has two different buddies. We're going to multiply by 3, and then we're going to divide by 5. So there's no addition or subtraction, so it doesn't matter which one. I'm going to go ahead and suggest that the first thing we do is we multiply by 5. Multiply by 5 on both sides, and then we would divide by 3. Okay, so let's go ahead and solve a problem. Your homework is going to be a bunch of problems where you're just trying to solve problems like this. And we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to circle our variable, and we're going to figure out how many buddies does he have on the same side of the equation. Well, he has 2 buddies, the -5 and 3. -5, and we're going to divide by 3. So we want to get rid of any addition or subtraction first, and then we want to get rid of any multiplication or division. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add 5 on both sides. So when I add 5, -5 plus 5 cancels out, and all I have left is a divided by 3 is equal to -12 plus 5 is the same thing as -7. Now we have one more step. It's a one-step equation. So I have a divided by 3. What's the opposite of dividing by 3? Multiplying. And because this is math and math is fair, I have to go ahead and multiply both sides by 3. These guys cancel out. I'm left with a is equal to -21. How would I check my answer? So if I wanted to do like a little check for my answer, I would plug in -21 divided by 3 minus 5 is equal to -12. And then I would get -7 minus 5 is equal to -12. -12 is equal to -12. Checks out. So all I did was plug in my answer, my solution for the original equation. We're going to do this one. Kind of works the same way. Circle our variable, and he has 2 buddies. We're multiplying by 2, and we are dividing by 5. So if I have 2x over 5 is equal to 4, which one do I get rid of first? Now, technically it doesn't matter, but what I like to do is get rid of the division first. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply by 5, so that this can cross cancel. But because this is math and math is fair, I have to multiply both sides by 5. So this ends up reducing to 2x is equal to 20. And then how would I get rid of this 2? Well, this is 2 times x, and the opposite of multiplying times is dividing. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2. This cross cancels, and this reduces. So I get x is equal to 10, because 20 divided by 2 is 10. How would I check my answer? I would plug in 2 times 10 divided by 5 should equal to 4. And this does reduce to 4 is equal to 4, so it checks out. Cool? Alright, hang in there. We're actually almost done. We only have 2 more slides left. But we're just going to keep practicing these things the best that we can, because your homework has a lot of problems where we're just doing this. Circle our variable. He has 2 buddies. Alright, you are multiplying by 3 and you are adding 7. So the opposite of multiplying is division. The opposite of addition is subtraction. Which one do I get rid of first? I get rid of the farthest buddy. Another way that I think about this, okay, think about this this way. Let's say f, right here, this variable f is supposed to be in quarantine, right? And he has a best friend, and he has like kind of an acquaintance. It's easier to get rid of the acquaintance, the kind of person who's like kind of a friend but not really there. All right. Let's say that this is a friend and this is a family member. It's easier to get rid of the friend than the family member because the family member you're stuck with. So the opposite of adding 7 is subtracting 7, but I have to do it on both sides. So I get this to cross out, and I'm left with 3f is equal to 25 minus 7 is the same thing as 18. And then I need to get rid of the 3 by dividing by 3 on both sides. I have to be fair because this is math, and math is fair. And I end up getting 18 divided by 3 is 6. Let's look at this problem. Our variable is r. So he has two buddies. We can either divide or get rid of the division or get rid of the addition. We always want to get rid of the addition or subtraction first, and then any multiplication or division. So I'm going to subtract 10 on both sides. And I'm left with r over negative 5 is equal to 10. Then how do I get rid of this negative 5? Well, this is r divided by negative 5, so the opposite of dividing is multiplying. And I have to do it on both sides. These cross cancel. I'm left with r is equal to negative 50. How would I check my answer? I would plug it back into my original equation. Alright, last slide for us to go over. Again, all these problems are kind of the same. Circle our variable. Add or subtract to get rid of the buddy. The opposite of minus is plus, so I'm going to add 12 to both sides. Cancel out. 4n is equal to negative 20 plus 12. Alright, if you borrowed $20 but then you paid back 12 of it, you still owe $8. Divide by 4 on both sides, and I get n is equal to negative 2. Alright, very last problem. Circle our variable. Now we have to get rid of the 3 or the 13. It's going to be easier to get rid of the 13, so I'm going to multiply this side by 13, but because this is math and math is fair, I'm going to go ahead and multiply this side. Now, for this problem, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this unmultiplied, just for now. If you have a calculator, it's not that big of a deal, but for now, I'm going to go ahead and leave this as 6 times 13. Now I divide by 3 on both sides, and now I have a cross-canceling problem. 1 and 2. And 2 times 13 is easier to multiply in my head than 6 times 13, and then divide that by 3. 2 times 13 is 26. Alright, this lesson is going to be a lot of practice. If you struggle with this, let me know. Come to me during office hours. Ask me in class, after class. I will help you guys. It's really important that you guys just remember. We're going to get rid of any addition or subtraction first, and then we'll worry about any multiplication or division. Alright, that's it. Have fun. See ya.